In the last book of the Bible, Jesus talks directly to 7 churches. But what's interesting is he's not talking to individual churches. He's talking to the cities those churches are in, to the church at Ephesus, to the church at Laodicea, to the church at Sardis. When Paul writes letters in the New Testament, he's not writing to individual churches on street corners. He's writing to the church of the city. I love this city. I grew up in this city. I was born here. I grew up cheering on the Hogs at War Memorial. I met Governor Clinton at the Capitol. This is a city that has so much potential. It's also a city that's been through a lot. A lot of people don't know, in 1927, the Mississippi River was at flood stage for over 150 days. People lost their jobs, some lost their lives. It devastated the economy of central Arkansas, but this city bounced back. A lot of people don't know that the Battle of Little Rock was a turning point in the Civil War when the federal government took back the capital. What most people outside of Arkansas know about Little Rock is the desegregation of Central High and the Little Rock 9. But what a lot of people don't know is that soon after the Civil War, Arkansas was one of the first states to allow black men to vote. And what that meant was that some of the best and brightest people of color moved to Central Arkansas and began creating culture that was known all over the country, like West 9th Street. History is more than just a bunch of facts. It's more than just a bunch of times and dates. It's what men and women do with their one and only God-given life. There's a time in the book of Acts where a church planter named Paul stands up and says, God has ordained the times and places that people should live. Here's what that means. That you didn't get to pick where and when you would be born. That was God's gift to you. But what you do with your one God-given life is your gift back to God. You know what's interesting about those ancient cities? The cities in the first century that would have been known as the most immoral, pagan, evil cities in the world. These days you don't know those cities because of how evil they were. You know them because they're names of letters in the New Testament. Because the gospel changes cities. It still can. It still does. Join us as we launch our new vision of what we're going to be and do as a church for the good of this city and the glory of God.